Good afternoon, everybody. I think we have a number of people joining us. So we'll just give a second for everybody to get loaded into the Zoom room, but I want to thank you for joining us today. Sorry, we've got a good sized group here today, so it's just going to take us a few minutes to get everybody in the session. So appreciate your patience. All right, I think we're in pretty good shape. I want to thank you all for taking some time to join me here today. My name is Nicole Evans, and I am the Director of Outreach for the California Mortgage Relief Program. And I so appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to hear a little bit about this program and see if it might be something that works for you or a neighbor or a loved one or a coworker. It's really an incredible opportunity in California. Homeowners have an incredible opportunity. So I'm glad you're here with us to learn a little bit more about the program. I'm going to spend the most of our session talking to all of you and sharing with you information about the program. It's, there's a lot to share, so I'm going to take the time to do it. We're not going to open up the line and take live Q&A from all of you. Many of you submitted questions, which we appreciate, and we're going to try to answer as many as we can. We had a lot of RSVPs, which is great. So we can't answer all of them, and we don't do a live session just because as a financial program, we don't want to end up in a situation where people inadvertently share private financial information. A lot of situations are really specific to your own unique situation with your home. So we try to keep it more general for everybody to hear, but we'll have a resource for you if you have questions about your own personal situation. So what we're going to do today is share with you information, give you a big picture overview about what this program is, talk a little bit about who is eligible, how you can apply, spend a minute or two talking about fraud and scams because it's on a lot of people's minds. So we want to give you some peace of mind about how you know this is a safe program and then what you should be looking out for in case you're worried you might be experiencing or trying to get dragged into a fraud or scam. And then we, want to enlist your help in letting more people learn about this program and answer some questions, as I mentioned. So just to give you a little background, what is this thing? Well, the California Mortgage Relief Program is a temporary program from the state of California being run through the California Housing Finance Agency, or CalHFA. And it was created as one of the many COVID relief programs that were launched during the pandemic. And it's to provide financial assistance for eligible homeowners who had some kind of financial hardship that had to do with the pandemic, related to your mortgage payments, your property taxes, maybe a partial claim or loan deferral, or reverse mortgage. So those are the various types of things that we help support through this program. The state of California received $1 billion from the federal government to help provide these grants or the support to homeowners. We think through the life of the program, about 20 to 40,000 households will be helped. The program will continue until all of that $1 billion has been awarded out to homeowners. So we will stay open as long as we have funds to share with homeowners. The maximum amount a homeowner can receive is $80,000, but it really has to depend on the exact amount of need that you have, but up to $80,000 per household. We have, you can get, I'm sorry, I got a little distracted for a second. Also, applying for our program is free and you never have to pay the money back, which is really unique. There were other programs in the past when we had the big housing issues come up in early 2000s, but those programs that provided assistance for homeowners eventually had to be paid back. This one doesn't, and that makes it really special and unique, and why we want to make sure as many people as possible hear about it. The grants, as I mentioned, are distributed on a first come, first served basis. And like I said, once the $1 billion has been distributed to homeowners in California, then the program will close and we will have to move forward. So that's just a high level overview about the program, just sharing with you some background information. Now, a lot of people wonder, like, should I apply? What is this about? Well, really, we think it's important to apply because it's an opportunity for people, again, who had hardships through the pandemic through no fault of their own, but really had a financial setback, as a chance to secure their home, their future. We know so many people's really, not only is it, you know, the place where their family lives, it's the shelter that you have, but it's also for many, it's your path to generational wealth. It's your biggest financial asset. And so we want to make sure it's an opportunity for you to secure your home and your future. In so many cases, this program has prevented foreclosure even within days of people, or hours of people facing a home sale due to foreclosure. We've been able to stop it for people who have applied and are eligible for our program. And in addition, not only to prevent foreclosure, but it also helps you to protect and build your home equity, especially right now as interest rates are kind of higher. People may want to really stay in their homes and, again, dealing with the financial hardship. So it helps to protect your equity. And then, as I mentioned, again, it really helps you to build generational wealth. A lot of people want to be able to hand their home down to their family, and it really helps to build, especially for communities that have been socially disadvantaged in the past. So it's really important, and we're committed to that mission. We hear a lot of times about this program from people. They don't believe it's real. Like, this can't be real. You can't really get $80,000 that you don't have to pay back from the government. But it is, and I just want to share, and I'm going to be doing this throughout the presentation, real words from real people who receive these funds in California. So this homeowner said it was very difficult for them to actually step forward and ask for help. We know it's very personal. Financial issues are personal. It's hard to share the hard stuff. But this homeowner did, and it made a world of difference for them. And the process was easy, and we'll go through that a little bit and share that with you. All right, so what are the ways and I'm gonna go into detail on each of these, so I'm not going to do that right now, but there are 4 different ways you can get help through this program. We help with late mortgage payments. We help with people who took a partial claim or a loan deferral during COVID, during some of the hard times. We help with that. We help with people who are delinquent or late on their property taxes, and we help with people who are having some issues with required housing payments associated with their reverse mortgage. So 4 different ways to get assistance, and you can get multiple assistance multiple times, or with some or all of these different options. The way the program works is all of the applying happens online. It's very easy and very fast. If you have pulled together all the documents you need ahead of time, some people can do it somewhere between 10 and 30 minutes. So we try to make it as easy and streamlined as possible, but this is a lot of money. It's a financial program related to housing. Of course, we're going to need documentation. We're going to need paperwork. So sometimes there is some time required to pull all of that together, and therefore there's also an option to start an application. You can complete it later. You can take a break. You might realize, oh, I need this other information, and you'll have to stop and come back to it, and that's an option. So once you have 30 days to complete your application, and get all your documents uploaded. Once that's complete, then it goes through a review process. You might hear back and forth from our program asking for additional information or questions. And then once a homeowner is approved for funding, we make that payment directly to your mortgage servicer or your county. And then the homeowner is all caught up and has a fresh start. So let's dive in a little bit here on this session. I know for the group here attending today, many of you took and accepted a partial claim or a loan deferral. So we're really going to focus our conversation on this element, but I will cover the others briefly as well. But we're going to lean in and talk a little bit here about partial claims and loan deferrals. So when the COVID pandemic happened, one of the things the federal government did pretty quickly is they issued, and they got all the servicers to issue a forbearance program. And what that means, it's really high level language, but what that means is they basically hit the pause button on people needing to pay their mortgages. But those monthly payment amounts were going to come due at some point. And so many people ultimately had maybe several months of mortgage payments they ultimately had to pay. And they were very worried about losing their home. And so their mortgage servicer may have reached out and said, hey, we have an option for you, either a partial claim if you have a loan deferral. Let me get this straight. An FHA loan, a USDA loan, or a VA loan, then you may have had a partial claim, And then for other homeowners, you may have taken what's called a loan deferral. But what that basically did is it took that amount of however much you had missed in mortgage payments and moved it to the back end of your mortgage loan as a second mortgage or as a partial claim. And that would be something you would have to pay once you had basically paid off your mortgage, or you sell your home, or you refinance. At some point you'll have to pay it, but that's a later date, not during kind of the stress of the pandemic. So a lot of people took these and they have two names depending on the kind of mortgage you have, either a partial claim or the loan deferral. They basically work the same. They're not exactly the same, but they're very similar. So people who receive these, we were already, when this program started, we were immediately, and the first thing we did was help with people who had outstanding mortgage payments and were going to maybe lose their home, and they didn't have this partial claim or loan deferral option. So immediately we dealt with and helped people who had late mortgage payments. But we realized that we needed to bring equity to the program. We needed to have a fair playing ground or a fair level playing field for people who also took these partial claims and loan deferrals. So where people who didn't make their payments had the chance to catch up and get that $80,000, up to $80,000 free without having to pay it back. We wanted to make that same option available to people who with partial claims and loan deferrals. So that's what we're doing now. So again, you can receive assistance that can either eliminate or reduce your partial claim or your loan deferral. If it was taken after January of 2020, which is basically when the COVID-19 pandemic started. And again, we will fund up to $80,000 per household. And I want to make it clear, this is per household. So if some people come in and come back and get additional assistance, we will pay the amount of whatever it is a person needs. So if you've taken $20,000 in a partial claim or loan deferral, then $20,000 is what will be paid. It won't be more than that $20,000. But if a homeowner had a mortgage, late mortgage payments and a partial claim, we could cover both of those up to $80,000. So, and then in terms of a partial claim and loan deferral, if a homeowner took $100,000, has $100,000 in a partial claim or loan deferral, well, this program can pay up to $80,000. So at least it takes a good amount, can deal with a good amount of that partial claim or loan deferral, which should be a good help. And what the benefit is it basically increases your equity in your home, because that's 80,000 less, or 20, or whatever the amount is. That's less than you would have to make ultimately as a payment on that mortgage. So it does help improve your equity on your home. One of the really important points here is to apply for partial claim and loan deferral. You cannot be behind on your mortgage payments, but that's with an asterisk. Because like I said, this program also helps people who are behind on their mortgage payments. And I'll go over that later and what the details are there. But it is possible to apply for both at the same time. And what they will do is they'll first work on your late mortgage payment, get you caught up on that, and then they would process and look at your partial claim and loan deferral application. We do need documentation, of course. We have to make sure there was so much fraud in these COVID programs over the years that we have to make sure that this is really, you know, for your home, at your property, and that you do have a partial claim and a loan deferral. So we'll ask for some documentation to let us know that you have you do indeed have one of those that was taken after January of 2020. That was a lot. I know that was a lot to take in. So I'm going to let that marinate for a minute. And there are some follow-up questions. So I might repeat some of the things you just heard. So that was the overview of the partial claim and loan deferral. A lot of the eligibility for this program is similar to no matter what you're going to apply for, but then there are a few things that are particular and special to a partial claim and loan deferral. But some of the elements that are the same for everybody who applies for anything in the California Mortgage Relief Program is that they can only own one property in the state of California as a residential property. So if you have multiple homes, then you will not be eligible for this program. However, if on your property you have multiple units, so let's say you have a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex, as long as it's just your only property that you own, you are eligible to apply. So, and obviously also a single family home, a condo, mobile home, all of those are eligible for assistance. But it can only be one property and must be located in California. And it cannot be owned by a business or an LLC. It has to be owned by the individual or multiple individuals. And anybody applying, like whoever's on the mortgage, all of those people have to sign on the application. Okay, so another eligibility requirement, and I've mentioned this word already a bit, but I'll go a little deeper. So you have to have had a financial related hardship associated with the pandemic. And so what that means is if there's something on the application, you'll have to check the box to say that you had a financial hardship associated with the pandemic. And that might be you had increased costs. Maybe you had additional family members come live with you and that increased your costs. Maybe you're working from home and that increased your costs because you've got to have heat or air, you've got lights on, you've just got a lot more activity in your home because you're home all the time. So that could be a hardship. It could be a decrease in income if you had reduced hours. Maybe you lost your job. All of that is something that you'll have to attest to in the application. So it's kind of a broad perspective about really what that financial hardship is. It could be that you couldn't work as much because you had to look after your children or you had to be the teacher for your children. So there are a lot of reasons why people may have financial hardships. So that is one of the requirements. And another requirement that everybody has who applies to this program is the focus on making sure that we're serving low to middle income households. So there's an income requirement. And that requirement is based on the area median income. And what that basically means is like the middle point of what people earn in your community. And in a state like California, it varies depending on what county you live in. We all know this. We know some counties have some of the highest cost of living anywhere in America. and others aren't quite as high. So it varies by county and it varies by the number of people living in your home. And I will say this too, to apply, you are expected to report income based on everybody who's over 18 who lives in the home. So you would combine that full income for everyone who lives in your home. And just to give you an idea about, again, how it varies by where you live, we pulled a couple samples here for you. So we go up to 150% of the area median income, and that's technical. That's a technical term. It's set by the federal government at the HUD, the Housing and Urban Development Department, or HUD. And it's specific actually to this federal COVID relief program, and they set it and they adjust it every single year. And it varies by household size. So the examples you see here on the screen are for households of 4 people. It's the new 2023 guidelines. So if your income is at or below, in Sacramento, $160,800, and you have 4 people living in your home, you would be eligible. Alameda, you can see, is very high. It's $221,850 is the maximum amount you can earn in order to be eligible for the program. So that's fairly high. If you are curious about what it's not listed on here, and you're curious what your county and household size AMI is, we have a quick calculator for you on our website. If you go to our homepage, camortgagerelief.org, right here, and scroll down, you'll find this little blue box here, and you just type in the name of your county, the number of people who live in your household, and they'll give you what the income limit is for your particular situation. It'll really help you know whether you should even take the first step and apply. Now, like I said, there's a lot more to eligibility than the few things I just mentioned here. And so I want to encourage you to go to our website, which, if you hadn't noticed, it's listed on every single page of this presentation at www.camortgagerelief.org. And if you click on who is eligible and scroll down, you'll find this chart that gives you all the details, and it tells you whether for mortgage assistance, property tax, partial claim, or reverse mortgage, what the requirements are. It's very helpful, and it might help you make a decision whether you want to take the time to apply. So encourage you to look at that. Okay, we're going to take a little pause, a little happy pause, and share another one of these testimonials from one of the homeowners who have already received, thousands of homeowners have already received assistance. We're well over $500 million that has been awarded to date, and probably getting closer now to 550 or almost $600 million. So don't delay. Be sure to apply today. But maybe you want to be like Aaron from Riverside County, and he was very grateful that he got the help he needed. And I want to mention something in Aaron's quote here, and that he talked about getting aid and assistance, and that he received support in finding a solution for his own personal crisis. I want to say we have a phone line that is staffed Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And they are very good at answering quickly, not keeping you on hold for a long time, and being able to walk you through the application process. They can answer all your questions. If you're not sure if you want to apply, they'll help you kind of clarify any questions you might have. So there's a lot of support and help you can get. Our goal is really just to get these dollars in the hands of as many homeowners as are eligible in California. So we talked a little bit about applying, and I told you it was really easy. So we're going to talk about that for a minute here. Basically, you go again to our website, camortgagerelief.org. You don't need an app. You don't have to download anything. You just go to the website and you click in the right corner in the orange box that says apply now. And that will get you started. There's a pre-application questionnaire that helps you kind of direct you and guide you again, on whether you should take that first step and start an application. Once you get through that screener, that questionnaire, then you create a login, you create a password, and you're up and running, and you're able to, again, start, stop, come back, finish, or just get it all done at once. The easiest way, frankly, to apply is to use your phone. If you use your phone, it's really easy. If you have, you have to have, we'll go through some of the documents, but the documents that you have to submit, you could just take a picture of and upload into your application with your phone. It's very easy, but you can also do it on your computer. You can do it on a laptop. And if any of those are challenges, we're going to talk about help you can get for applying in addition to that. So a very easy process. So some of the documents when you go to apply, you're going to need is you're going to have in this situation for a partial claim or loan deferral, you're going to need your mortgage statement. You're going to need the note for your partial claim, or you're going to need a document from your servicer when you accepted that loan deferral. That is going to be essential. We're going to need bank statements for income verification. We're going to need utility bills to verify your address, and any other kind of income documentation, maybe pay stubs or tax returns. So as you go through the application process, depending on how you answer questions, it will let you know what documents are needed. We also have a lot of back and forth that goes on during the email application process via email. So we encourage people to really check their email regularly and see if there is information we're waiting for or need from an applicant. So those are the documents. Like I said, just like with eligibility, I'm giving you a really high level view. I know you don't want to hear a long list of documents. Our call center, again, that's open Monday through Friday, 8 to 6. The phone number is here at the bottom. It's been on every slide, 888-840-2594. You call that and they can give you more information about additional documents you might need if you like to know all of that information ahead of time. So as I mentioned, a couple other things that I want you to know. I've said it before, but it's up to $80,000 per household. You can come back. Some people have come back who requested assistance with late mortgage payments and they fell behind again, so we were able to help them again. Some people needed help with their mortgage payments and their property taxes, or with their partial claim and their property taxes. Whatever the mix is, you can come back. But once you've received $80,000 from this program, you've reached your maximum, and we can't provide additional funds because we need to make funding available for a lot of people. And then, of course, you have to meet all the eligibility requirements. Sometimes if you do apply a second time, you will have to create a new application, or you might, and we have to verify, like, even if you've already given a bank statement or income statements, we're going to want recent information. So you might have applied 5 months ago and you come back again, we need updated information. So you're going to probably have to update the same kind of documents, but more recent information. All right, so these other programs that I've mentioned and haven't really talked about, I'm going to take a minute to share with you. So like I said, late mortgage payments, that's what got us going. That was the first thing we did out of the gate here. Basically, people who had missed at least 2 payments, and we keep kind of adjusting the dates, but currently who have missed 2 payments before August 1st of this year. So a couple months ago. So if you missed at least 2 payments before August 1st and you met all the other eligibility requirements, you could get help with your past due mortgage payments. And through that application process, once a homeowner's application is approved, the payment goes directly to the mortgage servicer. The mortgage servicer will then eliminate that past due balance, and then you're just responsible for making future payments on your mortgage. So you won't have that past due amount kind of stressing you out and making you worried you're going to have a negative thing happen, maybe potentially lose your home. So that gets taken care of. So that's the mortgage assistance side of the equation. We also help people with reverse mortgages, and really that's a little more tricky, because if you have a reverse mortgage, ultimately the bank is kind of owning your home at that point. But homeowners with reverse mortgages are still responsible for making their payments for their homeowners insurance. They're still responsible for paying those property taxes. And if you fall behind on that, then you get what's called an arrearage from your mortgage company. And then they're going to want you to get those funds paid back. And that's where you can get help from our program. So you can apply if that's your situation with a reverse mortgage holder. And then property taxes. So the difference here is for mortgage payments, you have to have missed 2. But people don't pay property taxes every single month like you do for a mortgage. You pay property taxes 1 to 2 times a year. This is really set up for many people pay their property taxes. It's put in an impound or an escrow account, and it's just paid as part of your big monthly mortgage payment. Other people may pay their property taxes directly to their county. They write a check to their county every single year or twice a year. Sometimes that's because you own your home outright, or you just chose to set up your property tax payments that way. Doesn't matter. It's fine with us. Whatever works for people. But we will help for people who have missed property tax payments. So, and this includes reverse mortgage holders, like we talked about, and people who've already paid their homes off. And so you can get up to $80,000 again for your missed property tax payments. And you have to have missed at least one of those before August 1st of this year. So those are the 4 types of assistance. So we talked about partial claims, talked about mortgage assistance, we talked about property taxes and reverse mortgages. So those are the 4 ways we help homeowners in California. So, and we've talked about eligibility, we've talked about the documents you need. So now it's really time to, get going, get this application started. But I know I would have a lot of questions. If I didn't work for this program, I would have a lot of questions before I was ready to jump in and do an application. Or I might get into that application and find that I have questions and I'm not really sure what this question means. Well, as I mentioned, we have a contact center or call center that's open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. The phone number again is the bottom of the screen, 888-840-2594. We also work with HUD certified housing counselors, CBOs, local community groups, and legal aid groups that help a lot of homeowners who aren't sure whether they should apply, who just, maybe you've heard this presentation and think maybe this doesn't apply to your situation, but you do need help and you're afraid that you might lose your home. HUD certified housing counselors and legal assistants are great options for you. If you go to the help section of our website, you'll see this page that you're looking at. You'll see this on our website, and it gives you the contact information for legal aid, for HUD certified housing counselors, for community-based groups that we work with that help people more on a one-on-one basis. So if you need that one-on-one personal touch, those are your options, as well as our call center. Okay, we're going to have another happy moment here, and we're going to hear from Janice from LA County, who received funding. And, you might be able to relate to Janice because she felt like she had a wild ride over the past year. And I think we all felt that way. And so she's really grateful for this program and the help that she received from the people who work on this program. We really, I can speak and tell you from personal experience, everybody who's working, especially in our call center, their goal is to get help in the hands of California families. As long as they can meet our eligibility requirements, we will do everything we can to get you through the process. So as I mentioned, I wanted to spend a minute or two talking about fraud and scams. We saw a lot of headlines over the past few years during the pandemic about people taking advantage of these amazing COVID programs and help not getting into the hands of the people who need it. And so, and generally in the mortgage space, people get weird text messages or they get junk mail, and they're not so sure if this is a real thing. So we have on our website a whole fraud and scam section where you can learn more about what to look out for. What are the warning signs? So here are some of the warning signs. And it's really unfortunate that we have tricksters out there who really want to take advantage of people who are under stress, under pressure, and it's really unfortunate. So we want you to know things to look out for. Don't sign papers if somebody is coming to your door and telling you about our program. All the application has to be online. There is no paper application. So if somebody said they have one, then it's not part of our program. If they want a fee to help you apply with this program, they want payment, that is a red flag. And you should call our helpline and we will help you for free, or get you in touch with a HUD certified housing counselor or legal aid, all of whom work for free to help you. They receive support in other ways, not by homeowners paying them. So you can see this whole list on our website. So I want to let you know, though, when you come to our program, we have worked very hard to protect the homeowners who apply. We have a very highly secure portal. We're constantly checking to make sure no bad actors are trying to get into the system. We have everybody trained on how to protect private and personal financial information, and they go through training and screening. So just, we want you to know that you are safe. And if you do find yourself in a situation where you feel like you are dealing with somebody that's questionable, on our website, we do have the phone numbers of authorities that you should contact if you're worried about a scam, potential scam. Things to feel safe about if you're applying to our program is that, like I mentioned, it's a free service. There are no application fees. Also, the funds never have to be paid back. There's no interest, there's nothing. It's awarded in the form of a grant, and it goes directly, and that's, again, a fraud protection thing on our part. We pay directly to the county or to the mortgage servicer to make sure it gets recorded against your home and not going somewhere else. So that is some ways that we help protect all of you and protect the taxpayer dollars. So that's really the bulk of the program. That's really the bulk of what I have to share with you today. But I think I've given you a ton of information, and probably more than you can really digest, and I apologize for that, but I wanted to get just the bare minimum to you. But as you've heard this presentation, maybe and hopefully it applies to your situation, but maybe you're also thinking of other people you know who might benefit from this, or maybe you're not sure, and this is personal, private situation for a lot of people, and they may not tell your neighbor may not tell you what they're going through. But if you share our information on social media, if you're on Facebook or you're on Instagram or Twitter or X or whatever it's called these days, if you want to go on there and find our program and reshare with the people in your social media friend groups, it would really help. And who knows, you never know who you're helping out, who's struggling and isn't just sharing. So we really would love your help in getting the word out about the program. Another thing I want to share is we have made, as I've mentioned, we have made updates to the program along the way. We've added things, we've moved dates, we try to continually assess the program, what the market conditions are, what the need is, and we do make adjustments. So I really encourage you to go to our website on that homepage and sign up for our newsletter. It goes out through email once a month. We make big announcements through that. So I encourage you to sign up for our newsletter as well to stay informed and up to date on what's going on with the California Mortgage Relief Program. So that is it. We're going to take your questions now, but thank you for putting up with hearing me talk on and on and on about all this complicated stuff. I appreciate it. So right now I'm going to be joined by Elalina Rogers, who's going to go through some of the questions all of you sent in. As I go through the questions, I'm going to leave this screen up here because it's going to give you great information on where to apply, the contact center number, housing counselor information. You can email us at any time. We'll respond to you within 3 days. So I'll leave this on the screen as we answer your questions.
Great. Hello, everyone. Good evening. All right. So our first question that we have on deck is, how does the financial hardship part of the program work?
Thank you for asking that question. So in the application, there is a box that every applicant has to click. There are a number of them, and one of them says, I attest, which is meaning I certify that I had a financial hardship associated with the COVID-19 pandemic. And that is how you let us know that you had a financial hardship. How you answer any question on the application is you must be honest and under penalty of perjury if you answer anything inaccurately intentionally. So if you intentionally are not honest with us, obviously this is a lot of taxpayer dollars, so we need people to do that. But that is how the financial hardship is recorded in the application.
Thank you. All right. The next one that we have is, this question asks, not sure how to obtain information on my loan deferral. Application requests this information.
Yes. So if you have a loan deferral or you have a partial claim, you do have to provide information to us about that. And if you don't, so it should be for your partial claim, it is the partial claim note that you received from your mortgage servicer, and you'll have to upload that. And then if you have a loan deferral, you should have received a modification agreement from your mortgage servicer, and then that's what you would share. And if you have a partial claim or a loan deferral and you don't have that document any longer, call your mortgage servicer and they should be able to email you a copy of that and get you what you need. So just ask for, if you have a loan deferral, ask for your modification agreement. And if you have a partial claim, ask for a copy of your partial claim note.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So this next one is not really a question, more of a comment, but I wanted to share it anyway. It says, I am totally surprised that a program like this exists.
Thank you for that, because we hear that a lot. I was too when I first started working on this, to be honest. It would seem too good to be true. And that phrase I have heard so much in the past 2 years. This has got to be too good to be true, but it is not. It is absolutely real. And like I said, I mean, I have actually, I've gotten pretty emotional at times when we've heard these stories of people who were 3 days, 1 week, a couple of hours, they were going to have their home sold in foreclosure. And we were able to put a stop to that because we, for people who are facing foreclosure, when they apply, we ask them to let us know, and then it puts it into kind of a rush status, and we will rush it through the process and make sure that we do the review as quickly as possible. Work with your servicer, get all the documentation. The servicer has to verify all of this, by the way. The mortgage servicer has to verify everything on their end with us as well. And so we try to accelerate the whole process so we can get people processed, and if they're eligible, we can stop that foreclosure from happening. And it is real. And it's, we've dedicated the majority of the funds to homeowners. So we really are relying on all of you to help get the word out.
All right. The next one is, I have a loan deferral that was added to the end of my loan during COVID. Will this benefit me in trying to apply for a HELOC?
So I can't speak to a HELOC. Honestly, that's probably something you want to talk to your mortgage servicer about. I don't know, but I do know that you should, and if you're eligible to apply for that, get some of that loan deferral, or some of that loan deferral paid down, whether you want a HELOC or not. It can help with the equity on your home. I encourage you to look in and see if you can apply. But pertaining to a HELOC specifically, I encourage you to contact your mortgage servicer or a HUD certified housing counselor or legal aid. That's where they have more of that broader expertise. We're experts on the California Mortgage Relief Program, but if you need to know other things, then a HUD certified housing counselor, your mortgage servicer, or legal aid are your best options.
Excellent. So this next one, it was kind of answered in the presentation, but I think it's a good reminder. It asks, do you have to be behind on mortgage payments to qualify or to apply?
Okay, so depends on what you're applying for. So if you're applying for help with late payments, then you have to be late. So we call that mortgage assistance or mortgage relief. If you're applying for help with your partial claim or your loan deferral, you actually need to be current. And that's somewhat technical. So you should be caught up on your mortgage payments. However, if you're not, then all you need to do is apply for mortgage assistance. And as long as you're eligible, apply for mortgage assistance. We get that taken care of. And then your application for partial claim or loan deferral help will come right after that. So as long as you meet all the eligibility requirements, we could take care of both. But technically, like the way the people in the program look at it, they're like, oh, they're not current, pay their mortgage, or the amount that they're behind on their mortgage off. Now you're current, we can do your partial claim.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Nicole. All right, let's see. The next one is, will this seminar be open at another date or available through a recording? Their car was dead this morning and they needed to take it to the mechanic after work, so they weren't going to be able to make this meeting.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the person who couldn't make it isn't going to hear this, but we're going to email them. But for all of you, we did record this session. We are recording this session. We are going to put it on our YouTube page, and you're going to get an email from us within a week with a link to that recording and additional information about applying. And you can forward that off to as many people as you want, share it with folks, or maybe I was talking too fast and you need to go back and watch a certain part again. So you'll have the option to do that as well.
Okay, so then we've got one more. It asks, do you have to refinance with this program?
Refinancing is not involved in this program whatsoever. So we don't have that capability. We're not involved in refinance at all. It's really to get you caught up where you are today with mortgage assistance or to help with your partial claim or your property taxes.
So that was the last one, Nicole. I know we received plenty of them, but we will be following up in an email with the recording of the webinar, as well as with our contact information. Yes,
and thank you all so much for joining us today. I know I am going to go back through because there were a couple other questions I saw that I just want to get back to. And some people were asking about, like, they had some deferred mortgage payments. They want to know if those can be forgiven. That is exactly what this partial claim and loan deferral program are about. So hopefully what you heard today may give you the answers you're looking for about those deferred payments. Also, if you had any paperwork from Lakeview that you have questions or concerns about, please contact Lakeview. We're not associated with Lakeview. We're a state of California program. And then if you're like, some people are asking about, being behind several payments, up to 7 payments late. As long as you haven't reached that $80,000 cap, you can apply. And you have to meet the eligibility requirements. So those are, and then there was a question about cashing out. There's no cash out option. We will only cover amounts that are needed under this program. So late mortgage or property tax payments, that full amount up to $80,000. For partial claim and loan deferral, it's up to $80,000. But if your partial claim or loan deferral is less than that, then it's the amount within up to $80,000, but not over. Not if you only owe, on your loan deferral $36,000, then that's the maximum you'll receive. You won't get more than that. And then people who may feel like their application is stuck and they haven't heard anything from us, or you've called several times, please keep calling, and send us a note also in our info email box. We do check it and get back to people within 3 days. So if you feel like you're stuck, email us, and we have a great team who will track that down and try to get some answers for you. So I added a few because I just felt like they were really important. So I have taken almost an hour of your time. I hope you hung with me. Thank you so much. Like I said, we're gonna send you a recording. Thank you for your time. I hope you apply. I hope you're successful in applying. Have a good night. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
All right. Good night.